Welcome to DisNewsYouKNow podcast, episode 5. My name's Martin and I am this episode to talk about disability news in the UK, to explore the stories and give an opinion. Although the news sites out there for disability news, disabled people news affects our lives, it's still underreported, and generally, as many of us already know, we're underrepresented in the media. So the aim of this podcast is our effort to try and address the balance. The story I'm going to focus on is the U-turn, the climb down, whatever you call it, by the Labour government last week. The government added some concessions to its welfare bill. Mainly that what is being billed as the creation of a two-tier benefit system, that basically a lot of the additions and changes that they're going to bring in for claimants are going to apply only at present, suggesting to new claimants, which obviously is still angered MPs and several people large in the community, because obviously that creates the creation of a two-tier system, which still puts disabled people's support networks and financial support that they really would rely on risk. The headline concessions with the original cuts planned to PIP looking like it will only affect new claimants, and that the idea that they're going to freeze the health component of universal credit, now that will stay in place and rise in inflation. Ministers will outline terms of a new review PIP assessment, which is meant to be conducted in collaboration with disabled people. Regulation basically means that people receiving health disability benefits will try out work without the fear of being a free assessment. That makes me very sceptical. I believe that makes me. It remains to be seen whether these concessions are enough to get for Labour to win over Rebels and win the vote on Tuesday this week. But to be honest, there's no. Yes, it's small victory, but it's still not enough, and it's still the spectre that somewhere down the line they'll find a way to bring in a new regime of cuts. It just seems that the benefits, the welfare bill, and the plan to slash spending and to transform welfare benefits and by reduction of spending, I don't think that's going away anytime soon, unfortunately. And it's death by 1,000 cuts really in terms of the fight for financial support. In terms of welfare, I think that it will come through in some shape or form down the line if they don't do it now. It's a lot of victory for backbenchers and also for the government to win the vote. From where I see it, to be honest, people are right. It's going to create a two-tier system, and disabled people will receiving benefits already living on the poverty line. So once this new system goes through for new claimants, then you're still the same until you're pushing people further into poverty. You just start pushing perhaps the same amount, but further down the line they'll come for the old claimants, and they'll remodel and they'll repurpose people, and universal credit, ESA, whatever they want to call it these days, they'll create a new benefit and they'll revamp it, and they'll get their wish, which is to cut the bill further down, which is the worrying part. Because the reality is that there's no mechanisms to really address the elephant in the room, which is that disabled people that vast majority that are able to work, if they could, are not catered for. Access to work has been absolutely decimated over the past 14 years. So, and until they seriously revamp that system, and there's a cultural shift in society in general in terms of accessibility, flexible working patterns, the employers in general understanding more about disabled people's capabilities in work and shaping work around rethinking the idea of work and how work shifts and work patterns work, and nothing will change. I mean, even the fact that obviously due to the pandemic we had a lot of people working from home, but even that seems like a sin these days. They've very quickly been abandoned in terms of the overall in the country. The idea of now working from home has been totally dignified as an attempt to be less productive. You've got employees being absolutely shamed for working from home as if somehow there's no indication of employers tracking productivity. So even that little possibility of the culture of work was shifting in terms of what more flexibility for employees, which was a bit of a window for disabled people that who could work but needed a more pragmatic approach to them. That idea in itself seems to have been shut down. So I don't really see where this goes other than a system that just traps more disabled people in absolute poverty. The reality is you're never going to solve the welfare crisis until governments, employers, education, holistically the whole picture, people rethink the whole idea of work and education, and break the link between qualifications for qualifications' sake, and create a real link between what modern employers need skills-wise and how education is providing people with those skills, because that has been broken for a very long time. And that's before we even talk about disability per se. I mean, this is a general part of this, the lightning rod of this argument. This particular occasion around the welfare bills was attack on, well, what I read as an attack on young people, because since the pandemic, the figures of unemployment of young people and claimants of disability benefits within young people, according to their statistics, has risen unfold, and there's so many young people that are in unemployment, but people forget the psychological effects of the pandemic on many aspects for young people. A lot of people, whether it's in education, finishing education up to 18 or university, and that's stored, and the fact that exams were delayed, etc., and so forth, and then the psychological gap of then getting back to work and stuff, and the fact that before then we had a massive unemployment issue for young people trying to find work, and particularly full-time work and consistent work, and the gig economy, etc., and so forth, and that only got worse. The after effects of the pandemic. So that was problems long seated. So you add the pandemic to that, and the financial fallout for everybody internationally, and I don't know quite what people expect. They took away EMA, they tripled tuition fees. You've got a graduate culture where degrees don't match up with the needs of employers, so there's a high rate of unemployment with quite a few graduates. They've just been a systematic problem for years, and then you then blame young people when they end up unwell and burnt out. I mean burnt out as in psychologically bereft and bereft of purpose and meaning in the world that doesn't seem to have a place for. Obviously, I'm generalising, but if we're talking about the supposed group that's the year of people that claim that they're claiming too many benefits and mental health has become a massive issue, well, that would be why. And then you look at work culture in general, the hustle culture, because obviously economic standards are falling, etc. and so forth. We've never really recovered from 2008, post 2008. Energy crisis, and that's 3 years, cost of living crisis, etc. and so forth. There's been a cost of living crisis faced since post 2008. No one's really recovered from that one. Not the average working person has recovered from that, and then you wonder why people burn out and end up with health problems because they're literally living to work, not working to live. So you add everything up, and it's a very simplistic argument, but is any wonder that we have an inundated welfare system? None of that even takes account people with long-term disabilities and lifelong disabilities, so I'm not even discussing that group. We're just talking about the way that economic factors have affected this country in the last 15 or so years, and the impacts that's had 15, 16, 17 years, and the impacts that had. So until government, employers, society in general rethinks the idea of work and we come up with a better economic strategy and employment strategy, and that encompasses education and what skills young people coming out of school and university, if indeed they even need to go to university, and until we bring back apprenticeships and trades, etc. and so forth, and we think apprenticeships in other industries as well, until all of that is done. I don't think that anything that they do with welfare legislation will do anything more than push people further into poverty. Anyway, that's my rambling rant, and I'll come back later with a bit more distinct argument, but I just thought I needed to really say that. Goodbye, thanks for listening.